This is Dabu 7, and we have all-out chaos breaking loose in Nepal as the government tried to put a ban on social media and the people have revolted en masse. Most of the media outlets trying to say that this is largely Generation Z that is taken to the streets. It looks like men of all ages in these clips, and it looks like an all-out revolution. With guns and everything else, they're going up in here, taking over everything. At this point, they report that fires have been set to the parliament, to the Supreme Court, to the president's office, to government buildings, hotels, politicians' houses. And as I said before, they're dragging them out of their homes and into the streets, as this is turning chaotic. This is one of the biggest palace embassies in all of Asia that they broke into, lit on fire. They did the same thing to several places. This is how the ex-PM's wife apparently was burned alive in all this. Although, I will say, in the footage, which I'm not going to show because it's graphic, she seems to still be moving on the ground when they pull her out. But she succumbed to her injuries, and she died nonetheless. And it seems to be going down in a chaotic fashion in Nepal. The government getting lit up by the people at this point, in the military taking the social media, trying to call for calm, but a social media that has been blocked. So the people rising in the streets all across the place here, and this is something to keep an eye on. I'll update as I get more information. Follow me on X for updates, and join me for the live streams Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, right here on Dabu77, where I'm talking about this and a whole lot more.
Shalom. First thing and foremost, I want to give all praises and glory and honor as due to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, a great millstone that rule well. Blessings and salutations to the hopeful elect. Noah's in the gospel, bro. Lifting up the standard of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, wherever it may be. This is another lesson through the spirit. There's chaos and civil unrest in Nepal, which is a city in South Asia. It says a social media ban, corruption, and Nepal kids. What we know about the deadly protest that ousted Nepal's leader. As there's nothing but corruption going on in these particular countries, man, because they follow the paradigm of America, which is oppressive in itself. Now, why this is the focal point of Nepal, I did a lesson yesterday titled Civil Unrest, or the spirit of sedition is in the air. This is what's going to come to Babylon, all right? As you see these protesters erupting with Trump deploying the National Guard and ICE to these cities to detain so-called legal migrants. Eventually, people are going to get fed up, and they're going to start doing what you see here. Burning down court buildings, burning down Supreme Courts, attacking state buildings, child support offices, hell, going after leaders, man. Because, you know, one thing about you stupid Americans, see, if you American people was in this spirit right here, you get a lot of shit done. But unfortunately, because you're so damn docile, because of all that you're being bombarded with chemicals 24/7, and the food is totally tainted, you people just learn how to take it up the rectum, so to speak, out of all this government corruption that's been going on. But see, in Nepal, they not trying to hear that shit, okay? Because a social media ban, people go batshit crazy. And I'm guaranteeing you, two things will make these people go batshit crazy. Maybe three. Take away their money, their finances, directly. Number two, do away with the food. Number three, you take social media, these people gonna lose their goddamn mind, because these people, they're infested with being narcissistic. You see? So these people lose their damn mind once social media is taken away from them, man. And eventually, this will be the straw that broke the camel back in Salaki. I'm actually drinking his milkshake. Well, I won't call it. It's a smoothie, not a shake. A smoothie. But anyway, so yeah, man, civil unrest is in the air. So it says here, Nepal protesters, angered by a bloody crackdown, defied a police curfew and took over the streets on the capital of Kathmandu on Tuesday, setting fire to government buildings and the latest day of Gen Z-led protests that have toppled the Himalayan country's prime minister. And see, unlike you fucking people over here, you dummies, these people have brain cells working because they're not going for the bullshit no more. Okay, America is probably by far one of the worst countries in the world to live in with resources, because you have resources. You got it good over here when it comes to resources and being able to move around and have certain freedoms. But this is an oppressive system. You know? They call this place a democracy, but it's not a democracy. It's more of a republic, or it's a monarchy, or it's an oligarchy, which an oligarch goes into the elites. And you have government structures set up where the 1% control and dictate the pace of everybody else's lives, man. And the people, they just sit here and they go to school, they go to work, they pay. We are exceptionally taxed to death, okay? We're overtaxed. You're over-policed in some cases. Okay, you oppress, you work to death. And yet, these people are still doing the same fucking thing, man. Which is the primary example of what you call an insane person. Insanity is basically doing the same thing over again, expecting a different result. So, if I kick a brick barefooted, not expecting to break my big toe, and I keep doing it, looking for a better outcome, then I'm an insane person. Because why the hell am I kicking a brick barefooted? You know? And that's the mindset of these stupid ass people in America. But eventually, they will get pissed off enough once resources start to be taken. Because see, Trump cracking down. It's cutting Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, whichever one comes first. I keep forgetting the difference. I know one is for old folks, one is for people that's on welfare. All right? Taxes are going up. The cost of living is going up. And you would think that would be enough so people can, you know, do what they got to do, but they're not doing it. Because they still get up to go to work. They still pay taxes, and they still have food that they can, you know, pretty much afford to buy for the most part. So these people ain't going to do anything. But there will come a time that people going to say, you know what, enough is enough. We're tired of Trump's bullshit. We're tired of Mayor Brandon Jackson's bullshit. We're tired of Karen Bass bullshit. And we just gonna hunt these motherfuckers, and we just gonna unalive them. All right? And you know what? Hey, that's the scriptures, man. The scriptures say they should not regard their kings or princes. In the course of their actions, stand in their own power. You know? So, anyway, it says, officials have said at least 22 people have been killed and hundreds wounded in a clash of Kathmandu, sparked by a government ban on social media platforms, but driven by deep-rooted resentment and rampant corruption by the country's political elite and a lack of economic opportunities for regular Nepalis. So you see where this is going? Okay, this is the same thing that's going on in Babylon. Government corruption, people not having enough to eat. Okay, people can't afford rents. People can't afford to live anymore. Okay, student loan debt is at an all-time high. I mean, to the point credit card debt is at an all-time high. And people were just like, you know what, I can't deal with it anymore. And then the straw that broke the camel's back was the banning on social media, which, honestly speaking, I pray like hell they ban social media here in America, man. All right? And this car is burning a lot of fucking gas, man. I don't know why, but damn. What the fuck, man? But anyway, they need to ban social media here. For real. Like, they should have done that shit years ago. That will wake these dry birds up, because clearly these people, they're not pissed off enough, man. All right? Because everybody's on fucking drugs and Lord knows what. But it says police use live ammunition, water cannons, and tear gas against the protesters. See, you see? They're opening up on citizens now. And the fact that you got all this violent crime here in America, or Trump is basically stating that you have all these violent crimes, which a lot of this shit can be agent provocateur, sparking up tension so they can be justified on pushing a police presence on your streets. This seems like a similar situation, man. Okay? Because eventually people gonna get tired of paying fucking taxes. They're gonna get tired of going to work. And overall, people they're just tired, man. They just don't have it in them no more. You know, like prime example today, I'm in, you know, where I'm living at now currently, but last week I was in Chicago, and compared to this this place, it's night and day. The people in Chicago and Illinois is way more inviting. They way more upscale. You know what I'm saying? They just have more of a spirit on them that once you can engage with them. Even though Chicago is batshit crazy, you can go to the gas station and somebody can be working the lowest job in the damn world and they will just have a friendly disposition towards you. But unlike here, in this fucking place, these people are dry, they slow, they're not friendly. You know, they don't even make you want to engage. And I noticed since I've been out, you know, working and doing whatever, I've just been in a real shitty spirit with people. I don't even want to talk to people today, man. You know, I'm just kind of pissed off and I'm aggravated, you know, because you just worth nothing, man. And we get to that point sometime in this faith. But anyway, it says here, on today's smoke-clouded skies above the Capitol, photos by Reuters show, but the country's main international airport shut because of the violence. According to the notice, posted Tuesday afternoon. But it says later this evening, the Nepal army sent troops to Kathmandu to control the situation for the security of Nepal and Nepalese, according to his chief. And what we found out too is that they fucking burnt, I believe, some official. They burnt the ass alive, man. You know, and this is what happens when you have a government of tyrants that want to rule over the people with their iron fists. This is the result of it. So this is the book of 2nd Esdras 15, and I'm gonna start at verses 46. It says, "And thou, Asia, thou art the partaker of the hope of Babylon, and art the glory of her person." Because if you notice, China and those different Asian-centric countries, they have a desire to be like Esau, man. I notice when the women come over here, they hang out with Edomite women. They rarely give Jake any time of day. And the Chinaman, he has a proud spirit on him, and you know he wears a suit and tie. And he's more friendly with Esau than you Jakes, because these nations, they're taught to hate you, man. You go to Shanghai and places like Beijing and what's another Chinese city? You got Shanghai, you got Beijing, you got Hong Kong. A lot of those places are built up like America, man. You know, the businessmen wearing suits and ties and building skyscrapers. You know, the women are wearing proper attire as far as, you know, professional dressed attire with the dress skirts and the dress shoes and the stockings and the briefcase. You know, driving the BMWs and shit. They glory to be like Esau, man. You know. But anyway, it says, "Woe be unto thee, thou wretched, because thou hast made thyself like unto her, and hast decked thy daughters in whoredom, that they may please and glory in thy lovers, which have always desired to commit whoredom with thee." It says, "Thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works and inventions. Therefore says the Most High, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence." And we're seeing the sword over there, to waste thy houses with destruction and death. You see, chick got burnt alive and succumbed to her injuries. Why? Because they're, you know, in China, it's communism, you know. And honestly speaking, being a communist country and dealing with a bunch of oligarchs, it's the same sentiment, man. Because at the end of the day, it's a bunch of people, or a small amount of people at the top, that's dictating the power shots from the top and oppressing the 99%, man. And people are tired of this shit. All right, so this is why we're seeing judgment, and soon to be here in America too, because eventually, like I mentioned, a lot of these courthouses, these Supreme Court buildings, these state courts, a lot of these places are getting ready to get hit, man. Okay, a lot of you judges, you politicians, you lawyers, okay, you baby mamas out there, you tax controllers, all you people out here that work in some type of form of government that's known to put hell on people, tax department, the State Department, eventually you all are going to meet a fiery fate, man, because people are going to get to the point that they're going to hunt you down and they're going to unalive you right in the streets of America in front of your families, man. Okay? And you heard, hey, remember where you heard it from first, the men of the Lord. But it reads here, and the glory of thy power should be dried up as a flower, and the heat should arise that is sent over thee, and thou should be as weakened as a poor woman with stripes, and as one chastised with wounds, so that the mighty and lover should not be able to receive thee. Okay, so eventually you're just gonna be cut off, man. All right. Going back here to the article, it reads, Nepal, a Himalayan country of 30 million people, is known for its turbulent politics and has seen more than a dozen governments since its transition to a republic. See, a republic after abolishing its 239-year-old monarchy in 2008 following a decade-long civil war. So there's always been tension there, you know. But it says, what sparked the protests? Anger against the government for what many view as rampant decades-long corruption was already simmering. And it's a similar fate in America, man, because people are they're getting tired. You got protesters in the streets. You got people saying that Trump is violating the Constitution by sending troops to American soil to foil violence. Okay, the whole C-19 people was made to take a jump shot against their will or risk losing their jobs, you know. But it says here, and it spilled into the streets of the capital last week after the government blocked social media platforms, including Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, YouTube, and X, in a move that was widely criticized by rights groups. It says organizers say the protests are not only about the social media ban, but also reflect generational frustration at poor economic opportunities, man. You see? So, yeah, these people, they're losing it. You know? And so, I mean, what can you expect, man? Peep this. Protests turned deadly. The protests escalated just hours after they began Monday as protesters clashed with police at the Parliament complex in Kathmandu, and at least 22 people have been killed. Dr. Mohan Regimi, the executive director at Civil Service Hospital in Kathmandu, told CNN on Tuesday after the second day of demonstrations. It says more than 400 people, including security forces staff, were hospitalized on Monday, according to the report of Nepal's health ministry. So these people are not playing, man. All right. Government under pressure. Yep. This is, corruption. People pissed off, man. That's why I said the sound of sedition is in the air. Going up to verses 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hand. Yeah, this is what we're seeing over there in Nepal. Okay? And it reads, it says, for there should be sedition among men, and invading one another, and they should not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their acts shall stand in their power. It says a man should desire to go into a city and should not be able. Martial law, okay? Private militias, civilians blocking off the roads, establishing checkpoints and territorial reigns. And it says here, and a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but should destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. See? And they mentioned poor economic stability for the poor people. Because the only thing people want to do is be able to live and take care of their families and, stay out the way. But you got a government that continue to take from you, and the people eventually get fed up with it. And this is what we're seeing. Okay? Job 20, and I'm going to start at verses 22. It says, in the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits, and every hand of the wicked should come upon him. The wicked goes into the laborers, the working people. Okay? The working class, the middle class. We take care of the poor and the rich. Okay? We're literally the table that they eat on, man. Because without the middle class, which there's really no middle class anymore, the so-called middle class, the poor don't eat, and the rich, they steal money from the poor and the middle class, which the middle class is considered poor, and they take money from us to keep themselves rich. Because how they keep themselves in power is that they steal money from the poor. Like the scriptures go into, he that oppress the poor, to he that oppresseth the poor To increase his riches is an abomination, roughly paraphrasing it. So you devils got a lot to pay for, and people are gunning for your head, man. And like I mentioned, this type of activity in Nepal is coming to America, okay, any day now. We in them times, man. So now is the time to really lock in and stay on point and be immersed with the Holy Spirit, because you don't want to get caught up in this madness out here, you know, protests and all this other violence to the point you get hardened off somewhere. And now you're facing a whole nother problem, okay? Habakkuk 2, and I'm going to start at 6. It says, should not these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his? How long unto him that laden himself with thick clay? Yeah, that. It says, shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties unto them, spoils. It says, because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for violence of the land and of the city, and all that dwell therein. Okay, so yeah, people just like, you know what, enough is enough. You can see it on people's spirit. We're a half a crisis, or a split of a crisis from this place that's falling completely. Okay, people are walking off the jobs. You know, people are not dealing with they're just not dealing with it no more, man. Okay, you look at somebody wrong, they be ready to crash out on you, man. And on top of that, you got a major YN problem here. So yeah, shit is getting ready to hit the fan, man, any day now. Especially when this system collapses and they bring in that MOTB. That's when shit gonna really get fun and turned up. Isaiah 19:1. The burden of Egypt, behold, Yahweh rideth upon a swift cloud, and should come into Egypt, and the idols of Egypt should be moved at his presence, and the heart of Egypt should melt in the midst of it. And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight everyone against his neighbor. No, everyone against his brother, everyone against his neighbor, city against city, kingdom against kingdom. All right, and that's gonna be a civil war here. Okay, sooner than later. Like I said, these governments, they're getting ready to collapse. The bureaucracies, they're getting ready to collapse. Okay, this whole thing of socialism, everything is getting ready to fall apart, and people just finna just take matters into their own hand, and they not gonna give a damn. So with that, all praises and glory and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Lord, is where you will edify. Until the next lesson. Shalom.